Can you state your name for the record?
My name is Christopher Scudder Teufel,
Cool. All right. So the first thing.
aka Chris. Music is one of those things that is like beyond magical or explanation or any kind of like reasonable reason for existing. Like, there's something that like clicks in my head when I hear those songs. It's like like, if I could play any musician or like any, if it's just one song, it would be that song on guitar, and I would just play it nonstop for the rest of my life straight, and everybody would get really annoyed, but it'd be pretty epic. In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks, and I just feel like that's just the epitome of like going out into the natural world. Like, sometimes you don't even realize that you're doing it. You just kind of start to wander off, and like, even if you're just like a parking lot of McDonald's, and all of a sudden you see like a little red squirrel, and he kind of like catches your eye, and then starts to scamper away, and you're like, whoa, where he's off to. And then you kind of follow him, and then all of a sudden you're like at this little fountain, and there's like some waterfall or something or other. I feel like that kind of stuff was, it's like all the little things that you aren't going out there to seek, that you aren't going out there to intentionally notice, that is why it's so beneficial and so necessary, I guess. Photography has kind of like become my meditation, or like my church in a way, where like it just helps me to like put things into perspective and like interpret them and like be mindful and like really put myself in the moment. Because like if I'm noticing like every little detail down to like the glint of like a sunset on an individual spider's web that only focuses like once every 45 minutes, then that just kind of like makes you think of all the tiny little things, which is like what I guess meditation is supposed to do in some ways. But yeah, I don't know. Cooking has kind of like played a role in my life, very much like discreetly, until it just kind of like popped up in the last few years as like this answer to everything. It was like our first few family vacations ever, we would go and take cooking classes and stuff, and my dad taught us to hunt and fish and always cook what we would catch or shoot, and all that just kind of like was underlying, like subconscious, I think, like part of my life. And then cooking like was just this thing that like I'd always kind of loved and like been like underlying, but then all of a sudden it just became like really cool on so many different levels. So I feel like that's something that I really want to get more into and like learn more about. One of the things I love to cook with is kelp, which is like pretty random, but it's like super sustainable and super delicious if you make it right, and it's just like one of the most bountiful resources out there on the East Coast of the United States, which is pretty dope. So stuff like that is fun to think about with cooking, but yeah, cooking's definitely been kind of like always there for me. I'm looking down at this table right now, and I feel like there's people out there that just have this kind of like natural like desire and like intuition and like drive that like every day they just feel like they need to be like creating something, and that can be like just like the desire to like using your hands and like your, maybe not necessarily your hands, but using your brain to process your thoughts in a physical way and take all these like things that you're seeing and hearing and smelling and noticing and observing and like converting them into like a physical form that's like your interpretation of like how you feel things and how you like see things. Is just like, I don't know, we are definitely one of the only creatures that we know of, at least, that can take something in our head and then make it in real life in 3D and or 2D or whatever, but just make it and put like our own interpretation into it. And I don't know, I think that's pretty cool. No matter how many pictures I've taken and how often I've gone to that, or there's just nothing that is as like fulfilling or as kind of like deserving of effort and time that I think a person can experience other than just like friendship with some homies. Like friends will always kind of do more for you than any particular hobby or anything good. Living is dope for sure. Living is pretty theoretically complex. Living is the most important thing, like single thing out there. Like it's one of the very few great mysteries. It's like first 10 minutes after the Big Bang, and then what else is there besides just being alive? Because that's, yeah, I don't know, some scary stuff, but it's like it's nice to know that there's still some big mysteries out there. The mystery of life. Who's Chris Teufel? I think I'm just starting to figure it out. Come back in 20 years.